Living on a boat for an entire month, subjected to constant thunderstorms, endless rains, and persistent waves, is an experience that challenges not only the body, but also the mind and spirit. From the first day, the routines of life on solid ground quickly fades away, replaced by a continuous adaptation to the unpredictable forces of the sea. The first impact is usually physical. The constant movement of the boat, driven by the waves and the wind, demands a balance and endurance that few possess at the beginning. The first days are marked by the incessant sensation of rocking, an involuntary dance that accompanies you even when you close your eyes to sleep. The muscles work constantly to keep you upright and move around the deck. And seasickness becomes a frequent companion, especially when the waves intensify during storms. Rain, far from being a mere nuisance, turns every daily task into a challenge. The humidity seeps through every crack, soaking clothes, blankets, and any object that is not carefully sheltered. The air, saturated with salt and water, leaves a sticky feeling on the skin and accelerates the corrosion of metals and the wear of ropes. Dealing with wet clothes and the difficulty of drying anything becomes a constant concern. You soon learn to value the small dry spots and to zealously protect your most important belongings. Thunderstorms bring with them a spectacle as overwhelming as it is terrifying. The sky suddenly darkens, and lightning illuminates the horizon with an almost supernatural clarity. The thunder resonates through the hull, making every fiber of the vessel vibrate. When you are in the middle of the sea, there is no safe refuge from the fury of nature. Each storm is a reminder of human vulnerability to the elements, and caution becomes indispensable. Electronic equipment is disconnected. Everything that could fall or break is secured, and the sky is watched with respect and a touch of fear. The waves, always present, vary in intensity and rhythm, but never disappear completely. There are days when the waves seem to play with the boat, lifting it and letting it drop in an almost hypnotic sway. But when storms rage, the sea becomes a relentless force. The boat creaks and shakes, and every maneuver, no matter how simple, requires total concentration. Cooking, sleeping, or even walking inside the boat becomes a delicate task, and any carelessness can end in a fall or a burn. Isolation also weighs heavily. The distance from the mainland and everyday life creates a deep sense of loneliness, especially during stormy nights, when the roar of the wind and the pounding of the waves against the hull seem to drown out any other sound. Communication with the outside world is usually limited to sporadic messages, and dependence on one's own company becomes more evident. Moments of calm between storms become precious oases where silence and contemplation allow for recharging energy and organizing thoughts. Fishing, which is often imagined as a simple and relaxing activity at sea, becomes a hard and often fruitless task. The constant agitation of the water scares away the fish, and casting a line or maintaining balance while trying to reel in a catch is difficult. The gear suffers from the impact of the waves, and the hooks easily get tangled. There are days when, despite all efforts, no fish are caught, and the pantry must supply what the sea does not offer. This difficulty adds a layer of uncertainty to life on board and forcibly teaches about patience and resilience. However, not everything is adversity. The sea, even in its most hostile aspect, offers moments of indescribable beauty and wonder. After a storm passes, the air clears and the horizon is sharply outlined under the soft light of the sun. The colors of the sky and water constantly change, painting landscapes that no artist could reproduce exactly. The fine rain, under certain lights, creates rainbows that seem to emerge from the very depths of the ocean. On clear nights, the stars multiply, and the Milky Way stretches like a mantle over the boat, reminding one of the vastness of the universe, and how small one is in comparison. The relationship with the boat itself also changes. Every corner, every object, every rope, and every sail takes on a special meaning. The boat ceases to be a mere means of transportation and becomes a refuge, a mobile home, an extension of one's own will and capacity for adaptation. Small repairs and constant maintenance become daily rituals that ensure survival and well-being on board. The perception of time changes. Without the rigid structure of days on land, and with attention focused on the immediate, the hours are measured by the rhythm of the sea and the needs of the ship. The day is organized around essential tasks: monitoring the weather, adjusting the course, preparing food, checking the systems, and finding moments for rest. Clocks lose importance compared to observing the sky, the tides, and the behavior of the waves. In the midst of adversity, life at sea teaches profound lessons about humility, patience, and strength. One learns to accept what cannot be controlled and to find satisfaction in the simplest achievements: a hot meal, a quiet night, a clear sunrise. Confidence in oneself and in the crew is strengthened, and the sense of community deepens, as every person on board is essential for the safety and well-being of all. At the end of the month, returning to solid ground brings with it a mix of relief and nostalgia. The body celebrates the stability of the earth, but the mind retains the memory of the sea's sway and the intensity of the experiences lived. Living on a boat for a month, facing storms, rain, waves, and the difficulty of fishing, is an adventure that transforms and enriches, leaving indelible marks on those who go through it. Out on the open sea, far from the comforting sight of land, the world changes. The air tastes of salt and possibility, but also of danger. Deep sea fishing, or offshore fishing, is one of the most perilous occupations on the planet. A reality that demands both respect and deep understanding. For generations, people have been drawn to the ocean's bounty, risking their lives to provide food, livelihoods, and discovery. But these adventures are not for the faint of heart, and the ocean demands a price for every catch. The dangers begin with the sheer unpredictability of the sea itself. Weather can change in an instant, turning a sunlit morning into a roiling storm within minutes. Waves that tower over the deck, winds that howl and whip the lines, and a rain that blinds even the most experienced sailor. All of these are common hazards. Even with modern technology, alerts, and weather forecasts, the ocean always holds the final card. Crews must be ready at all times to respond to rapidly changing conditions, sometimes working in freezing temperatures or searing heat with little rest and relentless pressure. But it's not just the weather that makes deep-sea fishing so treacherous. The equipment itself is heavy and unforgiving. Winches, lines, hooks, and nets are built for strength, not safety. One misstep can lead to a crushed limb, a broken bone, or worse. Fishermen work with sharp knives, slippery decks, and powerful machinery that, if mishandled, can cause life-altering injuries. In these conditions, vigilance is not optional. It is a matter of survival. Then there's the isolation. Far from shore, there is no quick rescue. If someone is injured, help can be hours, if not days, away. Medical emergencies, whether from accidents, exhaustion, or illness, must be handled with whatever resources are on board. The vastness of the ocean means that even the most experienced crews are ultimately on their own. Every member must look out for each other, knowing that teamwork and quick thinking are essential. Yet, despite the dangers, deep-sea fishing is not just about risk. It is about tradition, skill, and the unbreakable bond between those who work the sea. These men and women are stewards of a centuries-old craft, drawn by the call of adventure and the promise of the catch. Their knowledge of the waves, the weather, and the habits of fish is hard-won, passed down through families and communities. Every trip is a test of endurance, courage, and respect for the forces of nature. Respect is at the heart of deep-sea fishing. Respect for the ocean, whose moods can shift from gentle to deadly in moments. Respect for the fish, whose populations must be managed with care to ensure the survival of both species and industry. And above all, respect for the people who risk so much, knowing that every journey could be their last. Their work feeds nations, supports economies, and connects us to a world that is both beautiful and unforgiving. So, when we think of the fish on our plates, or the seafood markets bustling with fresh catches, it is worth remembering the journey those fish have taken and the courage of those who brought them to us. Deep-sea fishing is not just a job, it is a calling. It asks everything of those who answer, and it gives little in return except the satisfaction of a hard day's work and the knowledge of a tradition honored. To respect deep-sea fishing is to respect the ocean itself and the extraordinary people who answer its call. Their courage deserves not only our admiration, but our gratitude.